Welcome back to Game Talk from the Bench. I'm your host, Drew Barreto, and today I'm here with my co-host, my uncle Andrew Barreto. And we got our guest, my uncle Joe, and we got a lot to cover. In the NFL, we have Aaron Rodgers. He's back. He's back, and we'll talk about who he's back with. We got the new quarterback release for the show Quarterbacks on Netflix, and then we have hold on. Oh, schedule release. We're not going to go over every game, but there's five teams that they didn't get a primetime game, so we'll talk about that. And then in the NBA, obviously, we have the playoffs going on. MVP was announced. We'll talk about that. And then in the MLB, almost an NHL. In the MLB, we have weekly standings update as well as some news, and then finally we'll end off in Formula One. Start us off. Aaron Rodgers, we all know, future Hall of Fame quarterback. Four-time MVP, I want to say. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. He's returned to the Steelers on a one-year deal worth up to $25 million. Obviously, we all know Mike McCarthy's now the head coach. Former pals back in Green Bay. They won a Super Bowl together. Now reunite in Pittsburgh. Rodgers last year, they made the playoffs. Obviously, that's they made the first round. They made the wild card. They didn't move on past that. And for me, it felt like a fluke of a season for the Steelers. I felt like they weren't a deserving team to go to the playoffs. But Rodgers and the Steelers, they made it. And now the Steelers, they have two rookie quarterbacks. Man, they drafted Will Howard last year, and now Drew Aylar this year. And so they need a vet quarterback. They need a quarterback because obviously they feel like those two guys aren't ready. And so they found a way, and they brought back Rodgers.
Yeah, I think he's getting some pretty big money, right? Isn't it like $25 million for this 1 year or something like that? And then immediately he's the more experienced and better quarterback on the team, right? With Mason Rudolph second, and then Will Howard, and like you mentioned, Drew Aylar. I've said it before in the past. I'm kind of like, hey, he signed Big Whoop. I'm not thinking that they're going to the Super Bowl anytime soon. I think he'll do well enough to keep him there in contention if he stays healthy to make the playoffs. But that's probably about it. I can see him kind of grooming one of the young guys. You just see it, for the future.
Yeah, I don't really know how good he's going to do this year. He's 42, something like that, 41. So, I don't know what he's going to do. They signed him for a nice chunk of change, I'll tell you that much. I wouldn't have spent it on him. They could have traded, for Tua. They could have made some moves themselves. They could have signed Kyler Murray. I don't know why they didn't sign Kyler Murray.
Yeah, they're trying to rekindle, right? They're trying to rekindle some stuff from 2010 or 2011 with Mike McCarthy, and what are we talking? That's years ago. I don't think it's, like I've been telling Drew before. I personally don't think it's going to work with or without him. But now that he's there and he's taking up a lot of chunk of money, I find it hard to believe like this is going to be something good.
Yeah, and I like that point you brought up, Joe. Kyler Murray was an option, but obviously they didn't bring him back, or they didn't sign him, and they go with Rodgers, and so kind of just shows that they just want their veteran quarterback, and they want him to mentor their young guys, and hopefully the two that they drafted within the past 2 years, develop and get into or fight for that starting position in the upcoming season. So. It'll be interesting, but like you said, yeah, he did get a nice chunk of change, $25 million. Like I said, he's a future Hall of Famer, so he felt like he got what he deserved, and that's what they ended up getting. But moving us on, to our next topic. Oh my gosh, I'm losing it. Where did it go? It's the quarterback show on Netflix. It is back for season 3. And obviously, guys like Kirk Cousins, Patrick Mahomes, they've all been on it. And this year we have interesting lineup to say the least. Right here, we have Jaden Daniels, Baker Mayfield, Cam Ward, to be featured in the season 3 of the quarterback docu series. I'm pretty sure Joe Flacco and Joe Flacco, he will. I think it says he'll be in it as well. And so yeah, I mean, I personally haven't watched it, but I still um what is it? You obviously learn a lot. It's really cool to see the backgrounds of these guys. Obviously, they had a season, or they might have had multiple seasons of receiver, or they've had seasons of starting five, but that's for the NBA. And so Netflix, they're trying to get to this bigger audience. They're trying to get into the sports world by holding live events and things like that. But yeah, no, it's an interesting lineup. You got the former first of all pick in Cam Ward. It's gonna be his second season this year. You got Baker Mayfield, who's been a journeyman, finally has a home in Tampa Bay, and then you got Jaden Daniels, who will be the third-year quarterback. Um, oh no, this is gonna be about last year. So we have Jaden Daniels, who was it was in the second year when this is gonna come out. Cam Ward, who was his rookie year, and then obviously Baker Mayfield in his season with the Bucks, which started out phenomenally, but then ended by them missing the playoffs. So yeah, to me that's an interesting lineup of quarterbacks. Obviously a lot of bigger names out there, but they must be declining these options to be on the show.
And no Kirk Cousins. How they had him back to back, season 1 and 2. That'd be. I guess that is kind of flooding the market, having him in season 3, showing him with the Raiders doing, mentoring Fernando Mendoza. But I like the lineup. I like who they have. Baker Mayfield. He should be a character. Something interesting to watch. In general, I think this is pretty entertaining. I've always been a fan of like watching inside the NFL and shows like that where they have in more in depth and they follow people around and activities and stuff like that. So and then they have the old school Joe Flacco. So we'll see what the old man does to keep ready for the season.
Yeah, I don't. I haven't watched it, so I couldn't tell you guys anything about it. Um, it's an interesting lineup. I mean, that's great that they're gonna do it with.
You have you have not seen Netflix season 2? You have to.
I haven't seen none of them. The receivers
Hey,
and none of them.
you got
So
Jared Goff, his wife, is in season 2, and they show her a lot.
yeah,
What's the word? Beautiful.
I believe you. So,
he's gonna just stream it on your phone or something.
Baker Mayfield's an interesting character. I like him. So, like you said, I think he will definitely make the show good. Cam Moore's rookie season, so that works out good. So, I mean, it should be a good show. Maybe I'll have to watch it now so we could talk about it on this episode or future episodes. But yeah, I like Baker. I definitely like Baker Mayfield. He's a great guy, good at it. I mean, he's just a heck of a player, man. I mean, he goes out every play too, so I like that. So maybe it'll be good in the show.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. Like I said, it's an interesting lineup, right? Like I said, a lot of big names. I know they had, like I said, Mahomes on there, but guys like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, what's it called, Matthew Stafford, the MVP. But yeah, Netflix is trying to find like some of the younger guys, that aren't the star players that might have interesting seasons. But I wonder how they pick it, because they're picking it before the season starts. And obviously last year, like I said, they don't know the outcome of how the season is going to end, because Jaden Daniels was out a lot of the season last year, and so I wonder how his episodes will end up being. But yeah, I wonder how. Yeah, it's.
You know the executive producers? It's Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning and Omaha Productions. So they're bringing that. It looks like another guy, Patrick Mahomes, is also executive producer, along with NFL Film, which I was talking about. They're always big for this kind of show. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, and then obviously we had the schedule release. Um, Obviously we got multiple international games. But 5 teams, no scheduled primetime games for 2026. the Cardinals, Dolphins, Jets, the Raiders, and the Titans. And so, I mean, obviously, right, the NFL doesn't want to show bad teams, and that's understandable. But it's like the Raiders had one bad, well, I don't want to say one bad year, but they had one really bad year.
I was gonna
Careful.
say one bad year.
They had one really bad year that ended up getting, but they got the first one. They got Fernando Mendoza. He's a national champ. At some point in the season, he's gonna probably be the starter for the Raiders. But guess that didn't do anything. The Dolphins have been they've been a decent team, but I guess now with all their changes, they're not gonna. We obviously talked about the Jets right last week. The Jets they're still the Jets, so that's understandable. But the Titans and the Cardinals. I mean, I feel like usually every year there's only about like two, maybe three teams that get no primetime games. But this year, it being five, I mean, that's it's kind of crazy to me. Um, because I know, like I said, not every team gets a primetime game. Rabbit?
It sounds like it's all the bottom tier teams. You know, what I mean, all the teams that
Yeah.
had high draft picks and did really lousy last year. I know you were going to say Raiders only had one, and then my hair, my beard, my hair, everything was black last time they lost. So it's been a while since I've seen some Raiders winning seasons. But yeah, it sounds like a lot of the. Am I right about that? On the five teams that they're choosing not to have any prime time.
Yes, you're right. It's five teams that have no primetime games.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the only team I could vouch for would be the Raiders playing like a division rival in the Chiefs or the Broncos or even the Chargers on a primetime game. But I just I can't really argue with it because I mean none of those teams are really good. I mean it's all about ratings, so the NFL loves their ratings, and if teams are bad, I mean it's not like they're gonna have the Titans play the Cardinals on prime time, but I mean it's just that it's hard to say because a lot of the teams that like Andrew said are like pretty much the top five picks in the draft is who these teams were, and I just don't think that they felt like anyone was good enough to put on prime time. I mean, they could have given them an international game. I mean, I don't know why they didn't. I mean, they could have put some Raiders and somebody in Mexico City instead of the Niners.
Yeah. And I see them now. They're in the beginning they were doing that, right? They were sending the Raiders. They were sending teams who weren't really winning. Now I'm looking at this real quick. It says Patriots and Lions in Germany, Rams and Niners in Australia. So now they're picking better teams to play elsewhere. It's kind of like that's changed. It would be something where the Jaguars are playing in Germany or something like London or whatever.
Well, I know the Jaguars. They do have like I don't know what they have. It's like some I want to say I don't know if it's a contract like with the NFL or something, but I believe their owner he specifically wanted games international because he wanted. I think the Jaguars owner he wanted fans. He wanted international fans, so like he signed up the team to have like international games. So I'm pretty sure like every season you'll see the Jags have international games, and that's why like I'm pretty sure they have I think like two, possibly three this year.
Oh wow, yeah, there are two.
Yeah, they have two exactly. So like every season, and I'm pretty sure for like the past two seasons as well, the Jaguars have been the team that's been part of those international games, and so yeah. So like you said, they could have given an international game, that's for sure. And it's crazy to me. There's a lot of primetime games. There's Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football, obviously Sunday Night Football. Then you have Black Friday, Thanksgiving, Christmas. They're starting doing Christmas, and so it's like there's plenty of opportunities to have a team in there, but they probably would have just got flexed out anyway, so that's okay. But moving on to the NBA, and it's been crazy. We all know the Knicks, right? The Knicks already moved on to the Eastern Conference Finals. They had a quick 4 series against the Sixers. Thunder moved on to. They had a quick series. Spurs ended up closing out the series against against the Timberwolves. After Wemby got ejected in that one game, and the Timberwolves tied the series 2-2, and once Wemby came back, it's just nothing they could do. I mean, Wemby and the Spurs just dominated the Timberwolves in games 5 and 6, ended up advancing to the Western Conference Finals. And for the Timberwolves, it's they get they always make the playoffs, but it's just they're missing something. They have a great team, but to me, they're missing something. They need someone alongside, and I know Jane Daniels is great. Obviously, Nas Reed. They have a great team, but they're missing something that's preventing them from going to the next round. And to be quite honest, I don't know what it is. I don't know if you have something in mind. If you guys have something in mind, but for me, I don't know what the Timberwolves are missing that's just holding them back from getting to the Western Conference Finals and the finals.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a good question and a tough question because you figure you start naming the guys on that roster. It's pretty. Yeah, like you said, it's a pretty good team. I know Rudy Gobert didn't show up in that series and just got Wemby just handled him, really easy, and knocked them out really quick. But yeah, I don't. Is it another score? Because Nas Reed and Julius Randle and like you mentioned McDaniel, those guys were MIA when it came down to the last couple games where Anthony Edwards needed the help. It just didn't come through, and I know they had asked him that, and he's not talking about. I know it's not his decision, but he's not for adding another superstar. He doesn't think that's the problem. Where, I mean, if you look around the league, I mean that could be the problem. Just to win these games and get past the to get those the Western Conference Finals. I mean that is something to consider. I would think.
Yeah, Joe, I know you're about to talk right now, but I'm just giving you the chance to unmute. But yeah, like I started that. He didn't want another superstar. So Joe, let me get your thoughts on that. Oh, I'm not hearing you. Oh no. But the question, I'm not hearing you right now, Joe. But the question was about um, what are the Timberwolves missing? Because they have, like I said, they have a great roster. They have Anthony Edwards. You have Rudy Gobert, but like you said, oh my goodness, my lights just went out. Rudy Gobert didn't show up. Jaden McDaniels played phenomenal in some of those games. He played great against the Nuggets, and then they have a great bench. Ayo Dosunmu, obviously DiVincenzo went out with injury. Trying blanking on names. I know they have Mike Conley. They have a couple young guys, but I don't know what that team is missing.
I mean, I'm looking at the box score for game 6. Julius Randle 3 points. McDaniels 4 of 13, 13 points. Rudy Gobert 0 points. Ayo Dosunmu 10 points, 4 of 8. I mean, these guys were high plus minuses, minus 34, minus 28. Yeah, obviously it's a score, a consistent score, because those guys have, they have a good game. Dosunmu shows up, Monday, and then Thursday it's, MIA. So I don't know. It's most likely another score. They have enough to get where they're at. I mean, they even advanced to the Western Conference Finals previous year. It's probably to get over that hump.
They made it last year because we all know Steph Curry got that hamstring injury. If Steph Curry did not have that hamstring injury, it would have been a 4-0 sweep by Golden State last year, and we would have had a Warriors versus Thunder Western Conference Finals. And that could have changed the trajectory of everything. But they're missing something, and I don't know what it is, Joe. I don't know if you want to try to unmute and see something, see if it's working. I'm not hearing it. All right, sorry, Joe. We're gonna have to lose you mid episode. But yeah. So yeah, the Timberwolves they got to figure it out. But like you said, Anthony Edwards didn't want another superstar, and it's interesting, right? You want to win, so we'll see what the Timberwolves do. But as for the Pistons and Cavaliers series, this series it got interesting, right? Both teams won their home court advantage. It was tied 2-2 heading into Game 5. And in that Game 5, the Pistons they were winning. They were winning, and And I thought they had it. I thought they were going to take the 3-2 series lead. They were up 8 points. I want to say with like 2 minutes left. And next thing I know, it's a tied game heading into overtime. And then at overtime, they just lost it. The Cavaliers took game five. And then come game six, the Pistons they end up taking it. And they end up taking it by a decent margin. So heading into game seven, I'm thinking, Pistons they got to take it. It's right. They were the one seed, and they would. It was kind of like their year, and so I was like, they're gonna win this game, and winning the game was not on their calendar because they got blown out. It was brutal. They lost by about 30. They were down about 30 the whole game, and it wasn't even that their guys weren't playing well. I mean, they obviously could have played better, but Gerrit Allen just had some game. Gerrit Allen, he had 23 points. Um, 23 points. Donovan Mitchell 26. James Harden only had 9, but Sam Merrill off the bench 23. Evan Mobley at 21, and for the Pistons, I mean, Oscar Thompson 5 points. Tobias Harris 5 points. Jenkins 17 points. And Cade Cunningham. Okay, I lied. Cade Cunningham only had 13. So these guys just they didn't show up. And Duncan Robinson off the bench 13. Karis LeVert 11 off the bench. But I mean, I think the Pistons were just they were they were just killed because they were tired. I mean, they had a game seven. They went game 7 games in their first series against the Magic. It catches up to you, and I think obviously they're a young team with gaining experience, and I think that just caught up to them, and the Cavs who have been there before just were able to just take it from them.
Yeah, the game was out of hand early, and Pistons were never able to recover. Yeah, Cade Cunningham 0 for 7 from 3-point, and there was no other help like you mentioned on those players there. And he had a poor shooting day too, 5 of 16. So yeah, they were out of it early, and then that was all she wrote. The big guys in the middle, Gerrit Allen and Evan Mobley, 23 points and 21 points. And then, like you mentioned, Sam Merrill off the bench. I mean, he 7 of 10 from the field, 5 of 8 from 3 points. He was huge, and it was some timely buckets too to keep that lead strong enough to where the Pistons just couldn't overcome it. And there's another team that they maybe they go back to the drawing board and see what kind of free agents additions need to be done there.
Yeah, so we have our conference finals matchup: Spurs, Thunder, and Cavs, Knicks. And yesterday, um, what day is it? Yesterday, the 18th of May, was game one of Spurs versus Thunder, and this game it didn't disappoint. But before we get into that, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he won MVP. It's a back-to-back back-to-back MVP guard since Curry to win the award. And to be quite frankly, I don't think I'm not saying he deserved it. He was phenomenal all year, but it feels like we've gotten to the point where they need to change the name of the trophy because it obviously doesn't mean most valuable anymore. They're just going off stats, which sucks because, obviously SGA is very valuable to the Thunder. However, when he doesn't play, they still win games. I mean, if you look at the Spurs from last year to this year, when Wembanyama had his blood clot in his arm was out the year, they were a lottery team. Look at him back now, fully healthy. They were a 60-plus win team, second seed to that Thunder's team. I mean, and his numbers were great too. I'm pretty sure he averaged 26 and 11. I mean, he had an MVP type year. And he ended up finishing third. Jokic finished second, but we obviously know what Jokic does, right? He's a triple-double machine. I know Jokic is your guy.
Yeah.
And so, but I just feel like I feel like that award went to Wemby. But we'll get your thoughts on that before we talk about that matchup.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say that too. As I picked Jokic, but so I'm off there. So he finished second. At least that's good there. I'll take second place. But yeah, I just think you're talking MVP guy that to me, I mean, without defining the MVP to me, you take him off the team, and the team falls apart. I mean, if you ask me, that's the most valuable player of the team, right? You take Jokic off that team, yeah. Next thing you know, I would think they start maybe don't even make the playoffs. And like you said, the Spurs without Wemby, it's a lottery. SGA misses some games, and they're still doing just fine because of the depth and the. It's not it's most valuable player, not most valuable team. So, but yeah, I mean, like I said, I took Jokic. I just thought he was going to get another one to hang up there, and I know it doesn't really mean much to him because it's probably for him it's just
He cares about his horse racing.
yeah he's in Serbia somewhere, yeah, horse racing, doing stuff he loves, but they gave it to SGA. I mean, he's just a great player, and he's proved it in the playoffs. They had easy. Yeah, their teams they're playing, they just kind of walked right through them, right, swept them, and now they met their match in the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah, Wemby talked about it, I'm pretty sure, before the game. He's like, when you dominate them 3 games fully healthy and then you beat them a fourth time with, more of the role players playing, it just shows you who's the better team. And we saw that yesterday. Spurs, they led about all this game. Alex Cruz had a legacy game. He had about 30 points for the Thunder. I mean, it was incredible. I was like astonished seeing that he had like 8 threes made. I was like, wow. Caruso, that was phenomenal, but that kind of reminded me of Al Horford game 1 of the 2022 finals when he had probably, I think, close to 30 and was just hitting every three. You can't count on your role players to have these legacy games every night. And that's kind of what the Thunder kind of had. Caruso having 30 is not going to happen every night. And, him having 30 was the reason this game was close. This game went to double overtime, though. I mean, it was just down the stretch, just trading buckets, trading free throws in the overtime. I mean, Wemby hit a down 3 with about 30 seconds left. Wemby hit a Curry from way downtown 3 to tie the game. And I mean, it was just unbelievable. I think that was forced double OT. And double OT, Wemby went crazy. He had and ones, he had dunks, he had a block on Jalen Williams that kind of sealed the deal. He was just a freak of nature. I mean, that watching that game, he kind of was like out there to prove why he deserved MVP. I mean, he went 49 minutes, 41 points, 24 rebounds, um, 3 blocks. I mean, he was just unbelievable yesterday, and it was just without De'Aaron Fox, their young guards need to step up, and Dylan Harper, he did that. He played 47 minutes at 24 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, 7 steals. Stephon Castle, 17 points, 6 rebounds, 11 assists. Devin Vassell, he hit some nice buckets, but his defense, man, that impressed me the most yesterday. He was guarding everybody. I mean, he had a huge block on Chet down the stretch, I believe, in overtime. I mean, Devin Vassell defensively was huge, and I mean, they played great. And watching that game, it's just like, yeah, SGA, didn't have his best game. Played 51 minutes, only had 24 points, 12 assists. But I mean, that's just the type of defense that the Spurs have, and that the Thunder haven't faced, in the playoffs. And so Jalen Williams, obviously, he's still coming back from injury, and he played game 1. He had 26 points. He looked good. Um, Chet 8 points, Hartenstein 2 points. Like I said, Caruso at 31. But to me, the Thunder have no answer for Wemby. They have no answer. They didn't have Chet guarding them. I mean, to me, this series is over.
Yeah, no, I mean, yesterday's game was amazing. Like that was fun to watch. That's these guys, like you said, exchanging blows. That Wemby logo 3 that he had to tie the game up. Um, I'm watching on the corner of my TV right now. That one got me off my chair. That was unbelievable. I mean, there was no. You should see the crowd's reaction. He shut everybody up in that moment right there, and his team followed. Like you said, Dylan Harper. He had a phenomenal game, a historic night. He puts himself in a category with Magic Johnson for being only the second rookie, I believe, to have 20, 10, 5, and 5. and yeah, he played great. And the whole time I'm watching this game, I'm like, these guys. Not to mention they did set a record for having the youngest starting lineup in history. There was a couple of things that I was reading up on, and that was one of them. Because I'm looking on the court, and you have Wemby's young, you have Dylan Harper starting because De'Aaron Fox is hurt. He's 20, and he's putting up those numbers that you said. Shooting wasn't that great, 8 of 20, but I mean he was just aggressive. He was effective, and they got the win. And even Carter Bryant was in there, and he was playing some phenomenal defense, just being a pest and bothering OKC, just whoever had the ball. Yeah, I agree. I don't think they have an answer for Wembanyama, especially if he's going to play like that. Yeah, he will. Whoever's guarding. I mean, put it this way: Caruso was guarding Wembanyama a majority of the second half and in overtime. So if that's going to happen, yes, I agree. Series over, because I think he'll have his way with Hartenstein. With even if they put drawing a blank Chet Holmgren on him, I just think they don't have an answer for this elite player. I mean, it was something to watch. Yeah.
Yeah, no, like you said, their defense was phenomenal, and I'm gonna keep bringing it back up. But don't forget, 38-year-old Stephen Curry put a back-to-back 45 plus point games on that defense. But hey, that's just because people are putting, after winning this MVP, people are putting Shea in conversations with Steph, and it's just they're not close. They're not close. Not now. Probably not even forever. I mean, Steph is probably the most ethical basketball player I want to say ever. I mean, just what he does is just completely more incredible than what Shea does. And Steph's got 4 championships. Shea's only got the one. Maybe he might have 2 this year. We'll see. But yeah, Wemby is that dude is gonna win. Let's say more than 2 MVPs in his career. He's just undeniable. I
And
mean,
that's with Wemby. I mean, I could see it. I could see his body language. Like he wants this really bad to shut up just other teams, critics, whoever tells him he can't. You're too young. You're not going to get it. Yeah, they're an inexperienced playoff team, right? I mean, I think this is the first time the Spurs have been in the playoffs in quite some time, and it didn't look like it yesterday. I mean, it looked like, boy, these guys, they mean business, and they're going to come and their goal, to be a failure if they don't win the finals. It seems like, in their opinion, in their eyes.
yeah, and they got some veterans, right? Harrison Barnes, he's an NBA champ. Obviously, De'Aaron Fox didn't play, but he's been in the playoffs. But I think the biggest impact on that Spurs team is head coach Mitch Johnson. I mean, being the successor to Greg Popovich, and not only was he the successor, and then let's say they go back to losing seasons. No, they're on the oh my goodness, I'm blanking on the word, the grasp of going to the finals, potentially winning. Because if I'm, the Cavs or the Pistons, and I'm seeing the way the Thunder and even or the Spurs and even the Thunder are playing, I'm thinking we might, even if we make the finals, we might not have a chance. But I think Mitch Johnson, just seeing the way he was coaching last night's game, um, he was unbelievable. I mean, he was yelling at his young guys, but he was just coaching. He was doing everything right, and I think like you said, they don't have much experience in the playoffs, but Mitch Johnson was, I think, he's been a really big impact for that Spurs team, and like I said, he's been incredible.
Real quick, the Knicks, and I know you're getting there soon, but the Knicks were down 17. Today is the game one of the Eastern Conference Finals. They were down by at least 17 points.
Yeah,
And currently, end of fourth, it's tied, and we're going
it's
into overtime.
overtime. Yeah, I just as soon as you heard it, I was checking.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll jump right into that because I mean, there's nothing much more I could say for that first game between the Spurs and the Thunder. But yeah, Knicks and Cavs, they were on right now, and the Cavs were dominating. Dean Wade 10 points, Mobley 15, Donovan Mitchell 29, James Harden only 15. I mean, come on, James. You want to win that championship, you're gonna have to play better than that. Sam Merrill off the bench 12. Yeah, they were beating the Knicks, like you said, by 17, and we're end of regulation. We're heading into overtime. Maybe potentially by the end of this episode, we'll have a final score. But yeah, Jalen Brunson putting on a show, 36 points. I mean, I'm surprised this game is tied when I'm looking at this box score. But like you said, it's going to overtime. And for me, this series, it's interesting. It's interesting. I thought the Pistons we're truly gonna beat the Cavs and move on. But no, the Cavs are going on, and it's gonna be a good series. I think it's going 7 games. I know you're probably gonna pick the Knicks, so just for it, I'm gonna go with the Cavs in 7.
Nice. Yeah. No, I mean, I truly believe that the Knicks is time. It's right now to make that. They've been holding back a couple of years. They've been losing to the Pacers and I can't draw a blank on the other teams they've lost to, but they've been pushing this finals run, and I think this is the year for them. Obviously, you can see the Cavs have other things to say about that. It's not going to be that easy, especially if Jarrett Allen and Mobley play the way they did in that game 7, then that's going to be a problem. And I just think Donovan Mitchell's going to do what he does best. This Sam Merrill guy, he's just been, they found him in the playoffs to, what do you call it?
Yeah, he's been a hit and jump.
Kind of been
Diamond in the rough.
Yeah, diamond in the rough, and he's got 12 points tonight, but yeah, right now it looks like Brunson's carrying the team on his back, and taking them to overtime. So we got another playoff game going into overtime. Last night was fun, and we'll see how this series goes too. I agree with the 7 games. I don't think it's going to be that easy for the Knicks to, win it in 5 or 6. So I'm going to say the 7. The other one, though, I think we agreed taking the Spurs. Now I'm going to say 5 games there.
I think I'm gonna go with you. I'll go 5 games. I think the Thunder, they'll catch a really good game from Shea and Jalen Williams, and I think they'll take the Spurs in 1. But like I said, they don't have an answer for Wemby, and I don't think they will have an answer for Wemby. And so yeah, I'll take the Spurs in 5. And to go even further on that, I'll take the Spurs to even win the finals as well.
Hey.
No matter who they play.
Yeah. Remember we were talking about it's the rematch from the Cup.
Oh yeah, you wanted the Knicks Spurs.
Knicks
I wouldn't be mad at that.
That's what I'm going. Nah, that's a great one. I mean, you have this phenomenal player, this generational, whatever they want to call Wemby. It's real.
2 historic teams as well. So
yeah. If you're not used to centers 7'4", 7 foot and taller shooting threes, then yeah, maybe these series are not for because you got even the Knicks. Karl-Anthony Towns, he shoots it from downtown. We saw Wemby was just amazing there, and not to mention, I think he was like 90% from the free throw line. Most centers end up not
50.
being that
yeah,
50%.
Yeah, and even the young guard Dylan Harper. I mean, down the stretch, he was shooting big time free throws, and he was clutch. He made them, and it's just props to him.
Yeah, but, playing like a veteran for sure.
Yeah, but before we move on, currently Knicks are up 103-101. Overtime just started. News: Jason Kidd, head coach of the Mavericks, is no longer the head coach of the Mavericks. He got fired today, reported by Shams. And so, the Mavericks, who are, I forget what pick they have, but I believe they have a high pick. They're going to be looking for a new head coach. Obviously, Cooper Flag, Rookie of the Year, was dominant. Klay Thompson might be on the team next year. I'm sure I'm blanking on other people. But yeah, the Mavericks, Daniel Gafford I know of. They did have Luka, and they did also have Anthony Davis. I don't know who they have now.
Do you see what happens? Do you see what happens when you trade a top elite NBA player, all-star player in Luka Doncic? GMs get fired, coaches get fired. I mean, it was just a bad move all around. Everyone's pointing fingers on who was responsible for that Luka fiasco. And you had a new president, right? Masai Ujiri. I remember him from the Toronto Raptors, so I still don't like him from 2019. Still not a big fan of his, but then again, we don't always say we're fans of the GMs. But this is kind of the fallout of what happened, and he's got to he has to work with what he has and kind of clean up this mess, and he's got to make some decisions. This is a big decision here. On with their search for the new coach.
Yeah, so that's just one thing that's gonna That's on the list. I almost forgot Kyrie. Kyrie Irving's still on the Mavericks. Another update. Currently 105, 101. Knicks are up. But moving on to the MLB is our weekly standings update. In the AL East, the Tampa Bay Rays continue to lead the division. 32 and 15, they've been phenomenal, followed by the Yankees who are 13 and 19, and then it's a 9-game drop from there. In the AL Central, Guardians, they lead the division 28 and 22, but behind them is the White Sox at 24 and 23. In the AL West, Athletics, they're a game up ahead on the Mariners. The A's are 23 and 24, and the Mariners are 23 and 26. In the National League, Braves, they currently have the best record in baseball at 33 and 16, followed by the Phillies, who are on a 8 8 and 2 in the last 10. They've been on a great, not winning streak, but great like series of wins ever since they have their interim manager in. But they're 25 and 24. They're finally above
Who's that? Is that
500.
the Phillies?
The Phillies, yes.
I believe Don Manley, I believe, right?
Don Manley is currently the interim manager. So yeah, ever since he's taken over, they've been playing great ball. In the NL
Old
Central,
school Yankee guy right there. Old school Yankees.
yeah. In the NL Central, the Brewers and the Cubs, they top the division. They're 28 and 18, and then the Cubs are at 29 and 20. And then the Padres and Dodgers are currently in a series. Padres won Game 1 yesterday. They currently are leading Game 2, but the Padres lead the division. They're 29 and 18. They're half a game up on the Dodgers, who are 29 and 19, then followed by the Diamondbacks, Giants, and the Rockies. Before our guest Joe disconnected, I really wanted to talk to him about that Dodgers Padres matchup, because obviously nowadays it's since 2022 when the Padres upset the Dodgers in the NLDS, it's been a sort of a rivalry. Some people deny that it's not, or say that it's not a rivalry, but it truly is a rivalry. I mean, last year, a lot of guys got hit in those games. Managers came face to face. This year, it's their first time playing each other, which is surprising because we're about 40 plus games into the season. But they're currently in a 3-game series in San Diego. Like I said, San Diego took Game 1. They currently lead Game 2. Um, but yeah, so that's for the battle of first place in the NL West. But some injury news. Gerrit Cole, who had Tommy John the offseason after the Yankees were in the World Series. Obviously missed all of last year with obviously Tommy John injury. He's set to make his debut this Friday against the Rays. So the former Cy Young winner, the Yanks are getting their ace back. So that's big news, really big news for them, because obviously they're still a great team. They've been struggling a little bit with teams above 500, but every team wants their ace, and Gerrit Cole, I bet he's been dying to get back out there in New York, and then now he's gonna have his chance. Oh my God, sorry, I forgot you're not. Sorry, I forgot Joe's not here. I was like
Hey,
waiting for
I
someone else to
referenced
say
Don
something.
Mattingly, man. That tells you the last time I watched baseball. Don Mattingly, man. What is first baseman, New York Yankees? He was I mean, I think he's been a pretty good coach everywhere else he's been too. I believe. I don't have his resume in front of me, but I'm not surprised as soon as he took over for the Phillies that they started turning things around.
Yeah, no. So yeah, the Phillies have been much better, and yeah, Gerrit Cole's coming back. More news. Last night, I've talked about it before. We're still looking for our first no hitter since 2024. We had a Guardians pitcher. He took one to the ninth or the eighth, I want to say. But last night, A's pitcher JT again took a no hitter into the ninth inning, and the leadoff man got on. Manager, oh my goodness, John Kotsay. I might be saying that wrong, but the manager of the A's didn't take Adam out. And Zach Neto, who was up next, took him deep and walked off the A's 2-1. So brutal for JT Ginn, who, like I said, carried a no hitter into the ninth, ended up losing it, and then ended up giving them the walk off home run. So we're still searching for that no hitter, that first no hitter since 2024. But man, we've been really close
Pretty close.
so far, so close. Also in baseball, we just had rivalry weekend. So this past weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we had all the rivalries. playing. We had Dodgers versus Giants. No, we didn't have Dodgers versus Giants. It was the Highway Series, I think, or the Freeway Series. That was between the Angels and the Dodgers. We had obviously the I think it's called the Battle of the Bay, but we had the A's versus the Yankees, not the A's versus Giants. Jeez, we had the Yankees versus the Mets. You know, the Chicago team played, the Houston team, the Texas team plays. Um, and so that was that. A lot of upsets, to be honest. But yeah, that's kind of all I got in the baseball world. I almost forgot to bring up my Formula One. I'm gonna check up on this playoff game. Oh, it is 110-104 with a minute 45 left. Knicks are up. And going back to that, this should be a huge win for the Knicks. The Cavs could have easily stolen game one, and losing that in overtime that's series changing. It really is.
38 points for Brunson.
I mean, it's kind of what he does every game. He kind of is the carry for the Knicks. Like, no disrespect to the other players on the Knicks, but that's what he's always consistent. He's always scoring about, sounds like 34, 36, 38. He's usually in the even number. But for the Cavs, 15 points from Mobley, 10 points from Jarrett Allen. That's just not what they saw in that game seven against Detroit. But to end us off, winning off Formula One, it is race week once again. It's been quite some time. This weekend we will be in Canada. It is the Canadian Grand Prix. The race is this Sunday, but it obviously takes place over Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're going to be in Canada. I don't have this. Obviously, Kim Antonelli still leads the standings. Um, oh my goodness. There we go. Yeah, he's at 100 points. He's got 3 wins, 4 podiums. George Russell is second at 80 points. Leclerc is third at 59 points, and then followed by Norris, Hamilton, and Piastri. Um, so that is that Formula One. Like I said, it's a playoff game. It's still going on, but it's going the way of the Knicks. If the Cavs somehow come back and pull this off, you know, props to them. But they're down 6 at the minute 30 left. It's possible. But like I said, Brunson's been playing so well. It's gonna be hard to see them come back and win. But that is all for today. Thank you all for tuning in. I'd like to thank my co-host, my uncle, for joining me today. Unfortunately, Joe had to leave. He was having technical difficulty issues, and ultimately just had to hop off. We'll try to get him back next week. Thank you all for tuning in. Episodes every Wednesday, post outs throughout the weekend. Sometimes you get my initial reactions after the game. I wish I got one out yesterday. I was just in awe watching that Spurs Thunders game. I just didn't even think of it. We're on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify. Until next time, stay ready.